Yeah, so welcome once again. My name is Samson Akinwale, and I'm the uh, convener for this initiative called Discovery for People Managers. It is essentially an initiative to help as many people as possible who are interested in breaking into data field or getting themselves familiarized with data, sharpening their data skills, and to get the best insight out of the data they have been exposed to all day long. Just as it is just it's not anything new any longer. Data is the current oil of this age and time we find ourselves. So the indispensability of data is not something anybody can gainsay any longer. And that is why it is quite important for as many people as possible who can envision this usefulness and commit their time to it. The earlier they get to do that, the better. So, for those who are probably likely joining the class for the first time or joining the section for the first time, so we've been on a journey for some episodes now, about 3 to 4 sessions before now, and we are on a structured curriculum just to see the best way we can help people who do not even know anything about data in the first place, and taking them by the hand right from being a novice to an expert. That's exactly the goal of the curriculum we are currently working on. And that came as a result of some requests from people who were part of the sessions we had many weeks ago, where we did a number of projects, and the skills and different tactics we deployed in realizing those projects felt a bit unfamiliar with or for some people, and they requested to drill down to those different steps and uh, skills needed. So, and that's why we are going through this curriculum, and we've been undertaking a number of all of those skills, which we know will be deployed anytime we are ready to pick up any project again. So, in the last class, we were able to. Please confirm you can see my screen. So, in the last class, we were able to deal up to this extent while we were talking about what variables are, and we did a pseudo demo on how a typical data set is generated or comes to life. And that was after we worked on some calculations and moving some formulas, some functions in Excel. So essentially, we agreed that variables generally are different instances from one point to another. They can be measured and you can walk around them, they can be manipulated, and they equally have values. An attempt to record a value for variable, what you are trying to do is to establish the fact that there was an observation. So in that class, we were trying to figure out when somebody's car was stolen, and a report was made to the authority in charge, and they had to record that particular complaint down. In recording it down, for instance, if they had asked the person that, okay, you said your car was stolen, what was the color of your car? And he or she is unable to mention what color was it, then there was nothing to observe. It means maybe the person was just hallucinating because you could not mention what color. And how will somebody help you to find the car if you cannot even mention the color of the car? So the moment you are able to give value or appropriate value to a particular variable, then at that instance, that particular variable becomes an observation. Then somebody can tell you, oh, you have actually observed well. For you to say, okay, the color of the car you are looking for is gray, is blue. What's is the number of seat? How many seater car is it? And what model, what year, and what have you? So ability to mention all of those things makes the variable you are talking about to become an observation, because you are able to appropriate a value for them. In the same way, ability to appropriate value for observation is what becomes a data point. And the moment you have a data point, we'll still get to this in the course of today's class. The moment you have a data point, that can also be seen or thought of as a record in a spreadsheet or in a database. More often than not, the database would be a relational database, which we equally come to in the course of today's class. So as soon as such a record is given, it means you have rows being written, and those rows are filled against a column. The moment you have those rows or recordings in their number, they constitute what we call a data set. And that's exactly how data set in general are arrived at anywhere in the world. So what are the types of variables that we have? Knowing what variables are now, what values are, what observations are, and what data points are. What are the types of variables that we have? In general, they are divided into two, categorical or numerical. So a variable can be categorical, a variable can be numerical. So categorical variables generally are also subdivided into two. It could be nominal and it could be ordinal. It's nominal when it has to do with discrete categorization of two or more things. For instance, gender, eye color, a list of string of item tied together. Then it is ordinal when it is talking about order or orderliness, or a set of position in children's school or in any particular endeavor. So that is the categorical aspect of data. So data can also be numerical, and numerical can also be subdivided into either continuous or discrete. So it is continuous if it is measured along a continuum or a range of value, for instance, probably temperature or anything that you have to continuously measure at different point in time. And it could be discrete if it is quantitative but have specific value from a finite set of value. Example include things you get from sensors activated in a network, in a car, or in any device, or in Internet of Things in general. So those are just the different ways variable can appear. Why did we have to mention that? Is because as we move into figuring out how data sets are and the different databases we have, we will come to the realization of the fact that there are types of data that different database configuration are specified aforehand, and that will determine what kind of input or entries you are able to submit or fill up into that particular table or database. Don't forget also getting a data set now. Let's say we have it as a single table, a data set. You can have as many tables as possible. That is what constitutes a database. See where we started from. We started from what we call variable. A variable is an instance or an occurrence from one instance to another. And such variable can be measured and it has value. So the moment you are able to consummate a variable into a value, then it becomes an observation. So it can be reckoned as observation. In the same way, when you are able to appropriate value to an observation, it becomes a data point. And a data point is seen, or is more or less a recording in a spreadsheet across a row or horizontally against a column. And the moment you have such a single record, and when duplicated or when you have similar record in their numbers, they constitute what we call a data set. Now, a data set is simply now a table full of several rows and columns. Now, when you have such table depicting or speaking to different aspects of an operation, for instance, let's say a sales data now, you may have a table that talks about customer data, which is the customer ID. You can have another table that talks about the products that the customers are ordering. You can have another table that talks about the location where the customer is requesting from, and several tables like that. So the combination or coming together of all of those tables in different relational arrangement is what is known as a database. Now, today we are moving to module 3, as we have mentioned in the last class. And in module 3, um, we are going to see how well are we expected to prepare and clean data. So this is just one of those preparatory exercises needed to get a data set ready for analysis. So in preparing data and getting it clean and making it ready for analysis, there are a number of things we need to look at. For instance, the goal of this kind of preparation and cleaning is to first ensure that we know what sources of data are used or are available for a particular analysis we want to carry out. This is, of course, after we must have successfully gotten a business question in our mind and we are figuring out how exactly do we want to source for data or get data? We discussed this in passing in the last class that there are definitely different sources of data. So what else do we intend to achieve under this particular module? We want to also explain the types of structured data that we have. Either structured data, we also have unstructured data. And I'm not sure if we discussed it previously, but what brought about the phenomenon called unstructured data is the advancement in technology that has now blown the data industry more like an eruption in data industry, because gone are the days that analysis was based on structured data alone. Structured data is simply data in rows and columns, just like the description of table I just mentioned. But the reality of today's technology shows that data does not necessarily come in rows and tables any longer. It has now been coming in different forms. We have audio file, which is a data itself. We have video file, which is a data itself. We have data in different formats, not necessarily coming as text, that can be easily structured into rows and columns. So that is the current reality of unstructured data. Then we also look into how do we configure data according to the requirement of the analysis that we are trying to embark on? So very briefly, the sources of data as mentioned before. So data can be found in files in general, and these files can be any file type that we are all known to. It could be MS Word, it could be emails, it could be spreadsheet, it could be PowerPoint, it could be PDF, it could be in any file format that is currently known to the world of office effectiveness and office efficiency. We could also get data from different applications or software that we interact with without even knowing. An example is customer relationship management system. If you see people who practice customer service very well, you realize that they have their record and they have a record that help them guard and arrange the activities they indulge in on daily basis around their customer. And that is a software called customer relationship management systems. All of the activities and discussions and different things as to the inquiries and responses, date and time, and the ordering system that a particular custom has requested from one location to another. All of that are captured and kept safe in this particular system, and it is a compendium of data itself. A simple or a two-click exercise can get all of those data downloaded from that system and ready for analysis after cleaning. We also know of learning management system. We have a lot of data in this kind of system too, because it's an interaction between a teacher or a faculty and several students to whom those teachings or lessons are delivered to. So a lot of activities go on there. The course they are being registered for, the scores they had, those who failed, those who redo the course, how many attempts they made, and where, I mean, what location are they coming from? What particular trend can be seen or mapped out for people who are doing that course from a particular location and another. All of those things are recorded in those systems, which after being downloaded can be further analyzed. Of course, the human resource systems too. Everywhere in the world, there are things we call HR software or HRIS application being used by different organizations, starting from the very large organization from the world, which they use to coordinate and guide the processes around staff management. It is a very, very massive deposit of data. Internet repository is also there. Most large companies have a lot of their data which they have considered open, and they put it right online for people to access. Amazon is an example, Google is an example, Microsoft also does that, and a few other companies like that. And we could get data from those sources too. But beyond that, we mentioned a few other platforms where data are also available. For tech people, they know what we call GitHub. You can easily get data on GitHub too. It's a platform for tech guys where most of their projects are being showcased, and they have repository for different projects. They can upload their codes, do a lot of things in there. You can go there to ask questions from colleagues as to what you are not so clear with and all that. And Kaggle generally is essentially a platform for data set sourcing and all that you need to do. So those are pretty much different sources where we could pick up data easily when we want to embark on any projects. Should your client not have any data to give you, or should you not be you may not necessarily have been commissioned by a client to work on a project. You just thought of a particular thing, you generate a business question from it, and you wanted to actually have an answer to it, then you need to look for data. So those are easy way to quickly picture or fetch those data. So we can thereafter move on to how do we, after you have now figured out the questions, then you know you need data, then how do you select relevant data from these different sources we have just discussed? First thing you must have in mind is to first determine the type of data that you need and the likely source that it should come from. And that was why I took time to speak on those type of variable I mentioned earlier, talking about the categorical and the numerical, and the fact that categorical is subdivided into nominal and ordinal, and numerical is divided into continuous and discrete. So it's to help us have an idea of types of data in general, because by the time we move to a relational database, we will start reasoning along, okay, what type of data is expected to be in this particular cell. So we have to pre-program that particular code to ensure that if the user is imputing a different kind of data here, don't accept. So such entry will not go. It will pop up an error message trying to call the attention of the user to the fact that this particular data you are entering is not meant for here. It will not accept it. And that happens a lot. So for people who have done a number of things online, you realize that when you are imputing or filling a particular form online, and you do not fill it correctly, it will not get submitted. The reason is because that is how that particular database behind that form completion or filling has been designed. So until you follow what is required, such process will not be successfully completed. So what else you need to have in mind while selecting relevant data? You also need to select data that will provide direct insights into the original business question you have in mind. So, what are the questions to guide in selecting this data or in data selection? Number one, you should have in your mind that, or at the back of your mind, that what data points are necessary to inform your analysis. Do you really have access to those data, or do you need to look for another source for the data? Where do you think you can find reliable and verifiable sources of those data? How often is the relevant data collected and updated? How is the data licensed for use, and is there any cost for it? Some data can be bought actually, but sometimes or more often than not, most data are open source and you could get them for free without necessarily having to pay any money. Is the data in itself in a format that you can use or convert to use with any tools you have capacity to manipulate? And those are different things we need to bear in mind while relating with data, thinking about what type of data you need to pick, how do you manipulate it, okay, what sort of questions should you have in mind and settle before you finally conclude on the data source you are going after to deal with. So also on that here, today we intend to equally ensure that we know how to combine relevant data in Excel. Now, how do I mean? Combining relevant data uh, comes as response to the fact that for some project, as you proceed in this data analytics journey, you realize that the data you need, you necessarily get it from more than one source. And in getting it from more than one source, you must find a way of synchronizing those data from different sources into a single canvas where you can now sit down and start deploying your analytics skills on it. And because more often than not, it is expected that the final one you are working on should be a reflection of the reality from where those different data are called from. You are expected to ensure that the data gets updated in real time. For instance, I'm dealing with a particular project, and the data I need, I will necessarily have to get it from 3 to 4 sources. While I need that, how do I bring all of them from those different sources they are, combine them, synchronize them onto a single space that I have, and begin my analysis, bringing up my charts, getting along with the dashboard. And if anything changes in those sources, in terms of maybe a deletion, subtraction, or an addition, then it should reflect live and direct on the final sample you are working on, because it's expected to be a reflection of reality in the source. So the destination must be in sync with it. That's exactly what this particular subtopic is encouraging us to look into. So how do we combine relevant data? This time around, we want to use Excel. So when we get to the next tool, we'll definitely also see how we can bring up our data into that platform and work on them, data from different sources. But the easiest one or the closest data analytics tool that is common to everybody is Excel. How do you combine data in Excel? How do we get it from different sources and deal with it? So the objectives we want to achieve under here is to keep data from multiple sources in sync, consolidate those data or that data from several workbooks, splits complex data into separate workbook. How do we achieve this? How do we deal with something like this? Okay, I will show us quickly how that can be done. Then we can move up from there. For instance, if we are dealing with, or if for any reason your project comes from more than one source, I mean, the data for your project comes from more than a single source, what you need to do is to find a way of combining those data sources into one. And we can get to do that in Excel very quickly. So for instance, I have downloaded the sample data set we need. Okay, I can share that link before the class is over. I have a couple of data that I have downloaded already, and it's in my download folder, just as you can see here. So an example is this: bike sales for year 2021, and also bike sales for year 2022. So I have concluded, or I have realized that I need these two data sets for the analysis I want to carry out. But I need to sync them together and be able to ensure that they they can easily be pulled from their different location into the current location where my analytics is to take place. Before I come into this, let me show us, let's say I have this data. This is a workbook. The workbook is named this sample data. I also have another workbook. Is another workbook. It is named data cleaning. So very easily in Excel, these are two different workbooks. Don't forget, each workbook contains as many worksheets as possible. So all these tabs we see right here are worksheets in a workbook. So for instance, if I need this particular worksheet in another workbook, I want to use it in another workbook. Like I said before, you don't have to copy, highlight all of these and copy, then now go down to the other side and paste. No, you can pull it out easily by just right-clicking on these particular worksheets. Let's say I want to drop it in which workbook now? I want to drop it in sample data workbook. So I'm currently on data cleaning workbook and I need this sheet. So I will just right-click on the sheet, then I pick move or copy. Then I look for that workbook right here. I click down here, then I look for it. So the name of where I want to put it is, I want to put it in sample data for cleaning. So I'll click it. That is it. I can say it should move to the end. Then I click on create a copy and it's okay. It will land in that workbook automatically without having to adjust anything. And if it is a very loaded worksheet that contains thousands of rows, that's exactly how it will move it. But this is just working offline with different workbooks. But for real projects, you necessarily have or need those things to be in the cloud. The files will have to be in the cloud such that one group or one unit or one department working on one of your workbook that contains a data you need will not have to stop working on what they are doing. They can keep working on the workbook while other groups that are equally working on the data set you equally need can keep working on their own, but you want to sit at the middle to analyze the data they are all producing. So how do we do that? So the very first thing is to ensure that they put their files in the cloud. So we can link up all of those data sources, regardless of how many they have, from the cloud and bring it down to your own particular spot where you need it. Now, how do we do that? So I've downloaded a couple of data, like I said earlier, and that is it here. Bike sales 2021 and bike sales 2022. So what do I need to do? If I need these two data, all I need to do is to open it. Let me check if I don't have it open before. So close. Okay, it's doing some uploading. I want to close this one too. So you can close the file now. We upload them later. Yes, need to close it now. Yeah. I think they are all closed now. Good. So as I have them here, I can just open the first one, which is this. That's for 2022. Then I go ahead to open the second one, which is this, and that is 2021. All I need to do is to take it to the cloud. It's currently just resident on my system, on my hard drive. I want to throw it into the cloud, and the nearest cloud space I have is OneDrive, Microsoft 365 OneDrive. So I just pick a file, I click on Save As, then I click my OneDrive, then I click Save. So I think a copy is there already. Yes, save there. That's for 2021. Then I pick the second one, which was for 2022. I click here, pick Save As, pick OneDrive, that is cloud, then click Save. If it is there, yeah, you can overwrite it. Okay. So I have the two files now saved in the cloud. They are not just resident on my computer again. So how do I know that? I need to go look for them in the cloud. Okay, I open these other folders. Where's my cloud? I just look for my OneDrive. Okay, so this is my OneDrive. I have both of them here. So attempt to open this, give this, or better still, I can just go straight to my browser and bring it out from the browser. So on the browser, I'm in my OneDrive right on my browser here, and that is web instead of using the hub. So these are the two files uploaded. You can see a few seconds ago, about a minute ago, they have both now been uploaded right in my Google Drive. So if I pick each of them to open, it will open it as a web page on this browser. So 2021 is open. I can equally open the second one, which is 2022. So I have both of them here. Now, what do I want to do? I assume the people working on this data, populating it, imputing entries to it, they can be anywhere in the world. All what we have successfully done is that that file has been uploaded in the cloud, and I, being the analyst to work on it or that needs it, I have been granted access to that file. Same thing for the second one. So those files can be as many as possible. You can just put them on inside a single folder and share access to that folder. You can deny me access from any other thing in your cloud, but just this folder that contains this data set is all I need. And now I have access to them in the cloud. Now, in the cloud, now I have the two datas. Those are just the source. How do I work on my own? How do I make my own calculation and all that? So I need to create another workbook entirely. So these are two different workbooks that can be changing per second based on how activities are compounding. Anywhere those people who are imputing the data are, or anywhere the people who are responsible for the activities are. So I now need to create my own workbook. So I just come here, click on File, click on New, then open a blank workbook. So I can open the blank workbook altogether. So that will be open also just beside. So I can make it to be the last one. It is blank. Then I can rename it. So the other ones are called Bike Sales 2021 and Bike Sales 2022. So I want to rename the blank one that I just opened. Let me rename it as bike sales underscore consolidated, because I want to consolidate or merge the contents of the other two workbooks into this new one that is fresh, which I'm doing. So I'll do bike sale consolidated. You can name it anything you prefer. Naming is individual's choice. Okay. Then I just click enter. So I have that blank workbook named now. You can see. So what do I need to do? I need to now link the very first data source that some people are working on. I want to link it on this one that I just created. Then I will also link the second one that other people are also working on. I will also link it right here on this one. So if I have them close to 20 or 100 sources like that, that's how I will link all of them into this, my own personal fresh workbook where I can pull in different data people are working on. I'll just put them into my own so that I can easily work on them. And it can also be refreshed and be getting updates as those destination data, source data are changing. This one at the destination will equally change because they are linked. So how do I do the linking now? I can go ahead and say, okay, this is my own fresh page. I want to link the content here, this guy, and I also want to link the content here, this guy, into this one that I have just created myself. So please, you can ask question if I'm moving too fast or if you are in doubt of anything. I'm linking the file now. So right here, I want the data to land here. So my cursor is here, and this A1 is my active cell. I put equal to, don't forget the parable of equal to we've been following all this while. So put equal to. So the moment I put equal to, Excel is already activated, ready to follow the next instruction I want to give to it. So the moment I click that, then I want to first pull data from the very first workbook, which is Bike Sales 2021. So I go ahead and click the tab for Bike Sale 2021. The moment I click it, it opens this way. Then Excel has been activated and is asking me a question that what do you want to do? This is the interrogation it's giving me right here. Can you see this? Workbook link. Select a range to apply to the formula in another workbook. So you want me to select the range that I want to pull out from this data, which I intend to put in another workbook. In this case, the workbook I named Bike Sales Consolidated. So I've already done that now. I will come to this URL. I will click on it. It will get highlighted. Can you see it's already highlighted? like that. So the moment it got highlighted that way, then I come back to the very first active cell on this workbook, which is A1. I will click it. The moment I click on that the very first active cell A1, I leave it that way. And the next thing I want to do is to now go back to my new workbook where I want the consolidation to land or to arrive at. So I click the consolidation workbook. Can you see now the link from that previous workbook is already reflecting here because I started the equal to sign right from here. So it's asking me, what do I want to do now? Okay, I want you to call the content. Okay, I want you to call the content that I'm trying to pull out from there. There is something I mix out from there. I'll go and redo it, but let me end it here. Let me see what it's going to give to us. If it's going to call everything. Good. So I knew there was something I omitted. So I can see, you can see now, this was not the content in that place. This is the place. See the whole of the content. It ranges from column A down to column R. And this is the entire stuff that I wanted to pull automatically to this place. See what landed here? Just a single entry in a single cell. So something was missing, which I sensed before pressing enter. So I can undo, then redo the whole process. I'll start the whole process again now. Just put my equal to sign. I go back to that place. This is where I want to call from. I put my cursor here too. Then you press Control Shift and to highlight the entire data set. You can see now it has highlighted the entire data set with broken green lines all across, broken green perimeter line covering the entire data set. This was the step I missed the other time, which I sensed and I knew it may not copy the entire thing. So now we come back to pick it completely now. So having done this, you will now go to the destination workbook where you want it to land, which is the consolidated folder. You can see it has also highlighted it in advance. Then I will now press my enter. So while I press my enter, it has shown to me that everything has been copied. But you may necessarily see it this way. Let's see what's going on here. Show me the content of here. Can you see? Blocked. Blocked. Excel is so sensitive that way that it doesn't just allow you to move data anyhow. And it is a very good um, initiative when it comes to data governance. This is not what I want. Look at what is here. These are real data. So on landing here is showing blocked. So what do I need to do? So there is nothing wrong in what we have done. We have done it correctly, but Excel is trying to exercise its security and defense mechanism to be sure that that is what you are actually intending to do, and it's asking us questions. So I go here. I just want to confirm to Excel that don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I need that data and I trust the source of the data. So you come here and click this guy that says trust workbook links. So the moment I click on it, this block you see will start reinitializing, and it is expected to give me the real thing I pulled out from that previous workbook. So let's go. I click it. Can you see? It's telling me it's busy. Now it has calling all of the data that I need, which is this. So that is for 2021. We can equally do same thing for the second workbook, and we can do it for as many workbooks as possible containing the data that we need to work on for the analysis in context. So let's quickly go to the second one. I need to pull it. So I'll put that one into a second sheet on this new consolidated workbook. So you click your plus arrow here to get a second sheet. Then right here at A1 being the active cell, put your equal to sign. Then go ahead to the tab containing the next workbook, which is this. I click on it, just like I did before. Pick the URL, then put your cursor on A1, then ensure the entire data set you want is highlighted or captured with that green broken line forming a perimeter fencing around it. So you do Control Shift Hand to do that, and that has been copied. So having done that, you have it this way. Then you now go to where you want it to land, which is this place. It has already copied there. Just press enter. It has it again. You can see that busy stuff also showed now. It's giving me the data I need. So this is how I can copy, or not copy this time around, link rather. I will link all of the data that I have in different sources and put them in a single workbook and begin my analysis on them. So let me show us just a slight analysis I can quickly do here. So I've called the two data now. I've linked them all from their different sources to this particular destination point, and they are currently resident in my sheet 1 for 2021, then sheet 2 for 2022. So let me do a slight calculation. I create another sheet. Just press your plus sign here. And I'm pressing this. What do I want to do? For 2021, it has a cost. Okay. So I come here, I can say I want to pull out the average of these two guys. This is a column for costs and the average. Okay, maybe I should first calculate the average here so that we can see if by the time I want to link it up, come on, by the time I want to link it up, it's giving me the exact figure that is equally here. This is because it's online. Okay, so we can quickly do a slight calculation here. I can put equal to, give me an average, give me the average of the cost here. And I open, then that one is Q2, right? So I press Q2 to Q, what is that? Q14. Then I close the bracket. Yep. Press enter. What's happening? Okay, I didn't write the word average correctly. So I need to put that and press enter. Then I have the figure. So that is the average costs in this list of cost. So let me just put it as red just to shape it a bit. Do I want to increase this font size? Yep. Okay. I can do same thing for revenue too, because I may also need that one. Yeah. So these are the two figures right here at the source. Now I want to leverage on the link we have established and make same thing to reflect on the consolidated workbook to show if what we have established is accurate. So I come to this side, so I can label this average average. Okay, just put it as average cost. Then I can put this one to as average revenue. So you could call it sales revenue. Okay. So now under heat, what I want to do now is to now pull out the average, which I need to bring up. So I can put my equal to sign now and type my average, then open brackets. Yep. Then I go to where I want to call the data set from, which is here. I can now highlight it, which is this. Then I go to the destination. Then I can press enter. So you can pull, bolding it a bit, increase font size, increase this, then make it red. Check. This one is 26479 at source. And at destination, it's also 26479. That's correct. So it means that is settled. Then I can do for revenue too, because it equals to average, open brackets, go to the beginning, highlight all this guy, then get back here and press enter. What is missing there? Equals to average, this. Okay, let me put it again. Equals to average is open. Yep, that close. Save this. Put this as 14 also. Put it as red. So compare the values here and the values here. Both of them are the same. Now, one very important thing. Let's now assume that on the source file, which is this, let's say I go to costs, which is column Q. For instance, which one should I pick? Let's say I do Q5, and Q5 is, that's Q6, Q5 is 12,520. Okay, so let me just put it here to know what was there before. 12,520. Old. Yep. So if I have 12,520, even though it was a formula that was there before, let me assume I want to change it to 45,000. 45,000. Don't forget what was there before, 12,520. So it is expected that this change in figure, let me highlight that place so that we can be sure where the manipulation took place. It's expected that this alteration should be reflected in the consolidated workbook. But how will it reflect? You must refresh this consolidated workbook. So I have altered a particular item or line item in that source data. There must be a reflection of that alteration at the destination point. So here, I expect that this figure will change. Just watch, because I will highlight. Yep. So just watch. I'm going to refresh this page now because I have altered the average cost in the source file, which is on this column. I change it from 12,520 to 45,000. That should have effect on this average cost that I pulled into the consolidated workbook. But before it can reflect, it should, can you see, when I put 45,000 here, the average of the cost here at destination change automatically to 28, whereas the average at the consolidated is still 26,000. But the moment I refresh this consolidated workbook, it will also get updated to this 28. Let's see. You go and refresh this. How on the consolidated? Yeah, you pick data. After picking data, then you need to look for workbook link. Yep, this is workbook link. You pick it here. Workbook link should come out now. Okay, yeah, it was uncertain before. So pick workbook link. You have this because it's 2021 file we worked on. I can just come here, open these three dots and refresh it. Can you see? So watch on your left, 26479. The moment I click this refresh, it should go to 28977.77. So I'm going to refresh now. Watch and let's see if that changes, takes effect here. I'm clicking. Good. So from 26, it changed straight away to 28 in response to the alteration that was made at the source, at the source file. The same way as data or new data are being imputed at the sources, the moment you refresh at your destination in real time, those changes will be reflecting. And that is the beauty of being able to link different workbook together where you are pulling your data from. And on this note, we will entertain questions to see if there are any way this needs to be said or explained again for us to grab it. But this is exactly what we need to achieve when we need to get data from more than one source in the course of our analysis. Yeah, do I have any need for clarification or contribution, please? Hello? Any clarification? Do we got it? Okay. So, um, in the absence of no question, so I assume that is well explained and we got it. So this exactly 1 hour. We've exhausted the uh, pre-planned limit for today's class. So if there is no other observation or any need to ask question, we may draw the curtain at this point in time. So I give a few seconds if there is, then if none, we call it a day. Thank you everyone for listening. Yes, the floor is open now. So let's wait for the message before we call it a class. Okay, the question here is it possible that the data at the destination updates automatically without refreshing since it is linked to the source file? So um, I think the way Excel is configured, the update is more or less there, but it appears you need to activate it. And because you are the one working on the data, you want to ensure you pull up as many things that need to be pulled up as possible. If you do not do that, you leave it that way. By the time the system is shutting itself down, normally at the end of the day, it will update by itself because the system will tell you, okay, there are some updates that are going on or some files need, do you want to save changes to some file? You definitely pick yes. The moment you pick yes, those changes are the different alteration that happen at the source. They will now reflect at the destination. Well, because it's something you want to be seeing in real time. So it doesn't take you anything to just press the one click button to refresh it and see it immediately without waiting for when the system can be able to do it by itself. So maybe in another um, advanced application from from Microsoft, they may just do some automatic updating without clicking that button, but potentially the update is there, but maybe I can say lying dormant. Then you just need to get it activated because you want to see whether anything has changed at source or not. But if you do not, if you have luxury of time that you want to leave it for as long as possible, by the time the system is shutting down at the end of the day, or you want to close your cloud folder, it will definitely ask you, are you interested in saving changes to the file or not? So definitely you say yes, and that will automatically pull in the new updates from the source file. Thank you. Any more questions? Sorry, somebody say you can't see the screen. Can you all see my screen? Is this today or not? Was this question today?
Yeah, it was when we started the class today that I asked the question, but now throughout your presentation, I could see it.
Okay, great, great. I just want to be sure that nothing was missing because I think it happened one time like that, that the screen was not being captured, even though I thought it was already capturing it. That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, any other question? Somebody is still typing question. Please, quickly. Is tonight's recording going to be shared? All recordings have always been shared. Just go to the YouTube page, Talent Basket. You'll see all the recordings right there. There is no recording that has never been shared. So tonight will not be an exception. Thank you for that question. I will thank you, every other person, for joining today's session. We'll meet again next week. Have a lovely week ahead and bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you.